Well, hi folks, we got a really great trip today that involves castles and windmills and beautiful countryside and the coast. In fact, it's got a little bit of everything. Woodlands, cut through hollow way roads, absolutely brilliant. So this is the route that we took through Herstmonceaux. So that's right down in the south coast. You can see Eastbourne, you can see Hastings, Bexhill, and so we're really at Pevensey Bay, which is that bit of sea there, and you can see that our route is quite a circular route. In fact, it covers the Pevensey levels really at the bottom. You can see Herstmonceaux, and we started up just outside Catsfield, and you can see there's also an alternative route there if you don't want to go to the windmill, which is, to be honest, you have to pay a lot and there's not much to see. But Herstmonceaux Castle, I'm not sure whether you can get through there without paying the fee. So you'd have to do a little bit of a cut through, and so there is an alternative route either across the top, or you can move a little bit further in after the windmill. But it's a really nice route. You can see it heads round back into Pevensey, then across to Bexhill, following really the railway line along the edge of the levels, and then we return back up through the edge of Bexhill towards Catsfield. It's a really nice journey. It's under 30 miles the way we did it, and you might find that would change. Our distance also included a little bit of walking that we did around Herstmonceaux, because I didn't turn off Commute really, but it wasn't a huge amount. So let's have a little look at where it is that we are going on from here. So here you can see just that little cut through that you could do if you wanted to avoid from Windmill Hill. You could cut around through Halsham Road and then either drop down there or whatever. So here we are at Herstmonceaux, and you can see that the road that passes through it, really between All Saints Church really and Watling Road, is on a barrier. So here is the route again, and the bottom left hand corner is really all Pevensey flats, and the top right hand corner is nearly all hills, and there's a bit more hill around the observatory at Herstmonceaux. So you see most of the hills are really on our way out and on our return. So here we are starting off at Catsfield, head towards Ninfield, down towards the windmills, and then off, there's the windmills, and then down Herstmonceaux. Spend some time at Herstmonceaux Castle, and then we come out again, work our way around onto the edge of the levels, follow along down to the coast, the bottom of the edge of the levels, and then we stop to have a little stop at the coast, and then we just head back through the hills back towards Catsfield. So quite a nice little route, as it shows there, 28.5 miles, so it's under 30. It really depends on how you want to take it. So we're leaving Church Road in going into the edge of Catsfield, which is where we are now, and the road surface is pretty good. So here we are out on Catsfield, and we're just cutting across really just past the village green, and now we're heading out down Skinner's Lane, and it's Skinner's Lane. We're heading west along that, and you can see it's a single track road. You're not likely to meet much traffic coming the other way, although surprise surprise, we did. There we go. And there were a couple of things, but to be honest, it's a really quiet road, not a lot to see because the elm hedgerow is quite tall on the right hand side there, and then you're going through woodland. A little bit of development, but really this is a very, very quiet road, and it's got quite a few steep hills if you look at the gradient chart that we've put there. So we're going to turn right here, and then it's right again almost immediately. A pair of little triangles that there are, and that takes us up towards the Halsham Road. So we're heading up again. This is not quite single track, but it's not far off it. It's got passing spaces, but you can see it's a little bit wider. And we're heading up the hill. Now this whole section is quite up and down, and you do need to be careful. So we're going to turn right here towards Ashburnham. Sorry, we turn left and then right towards Ashburnham. So left first of all, and there's our right towards Ashburnham. Again, it's another one of these little quiet country roads. Then left just at that junction there. That wasn't much of a junction. And so now we ascend another one of these hills, and there's so many hills around here. but the road surfaces are pretty good. It's a shame that visibility isn't slightly better, in that you can't really see much each side until it opens out a bit. So we're now turning left here towards Bodle Street, and again quiet little roads, a little bit of grass in the middle and some gravel, but not too bad generally. So ascend up another hill on one of these Holloway roads. I love those. And as we get towards the hill, you can actually see through gaps and breaks in the hedge, but we're not going to take the Windmill Hill shortcut, even though we're going to the Windmill area. We're going to avoid that, so that'll go off on the left up here. We just carry straight on. It's a typical farm road here, so just watch out if it's wet or muddy. You might get all sorts of material dumped into it. But we're basically just going to head on now down towards the town. And here we go, across through the farms, and it's just here we turn left up here by the pub at Bodle Street, and now just a tiny bit of ascent, and then we're going to descend down quite a pace into town. So this is a bit of a steep hill. That's the one that you can see there on the little chart. Catches you out before we head towards Herstmonceaux. So we get up towards the top, and the windmill is just up here. Then after that we're going to do quite a tight turn. So we show left at the roadworks there at the T-junction, and the windmill was just here. Not much to see, didn't have any sails on it. So we then follow off, and now we're heading towards Herstmonceaux. Not so much the village, but the castle. So I don't think we left this road at all really, we just almost stayed. Oh, there we go. There was a turn there, I don't think I marked that one up. So we're now following around, definitely, I'm pretty sure we stay on this road right up to the castle. Quite peaceful. Now what's going on down here is there's a lot of stuff happening, there's lots of places being built, but here we are at the observatory, and you cycle in and you have to stop at the barrier, which is where we stopped. There's a little look at the observatory over there, very famous Herstmonceaux Observatory. But then we paid our fee and we went in for a quick walk around the castle. I think it was about £8 a head, so it's not cheap, but on the other hand, it's quite a nice place if you had a bit more time. So because we were doing a longer journey and it was in the middle of winter, the days were closing in. But here's the castle, and just a couple of views of the castle before we carry on our trip, so that you can see what it is that you're letting yourself in for. It's got lovely gardens, it's great for kids, and lots of things to see. It's interesting. It's really a field station for one of the Canadian universities, really. I'm not sure which one. I think it might be Ontario or something like that, but it's there's a lot of students around. That building's interesting. It's about 3 foot thick, so it's really just a folly. And there was a peacock trying to steal our lunch. So anyway, off we go back through the rest of the estate, and we're going to meet a gate at the far end, and there's all sorts of cameras around it. Because it is a university campus, we just need to be careful. So we got to this gate. Fortunately it was unlocked, we were able to get out, and it's right by the church there, and then we're just going to take the left hand turn towards the Pevensey and the levels. So you'll see a little sign coming up in a second, and we just feed off towards that. So now off we go through these narrow roads, and we're now heading almost immediately into the level. So a quick left turn there, and now we're going to drop towards the levels, and here we are on the levels. It's a triple SI, a Site of Special Scientific Interest, which means it's got a certain degree of protection with a purpose. There'll be a management plan to enable the wildlife and others to survive there, and it is quite significant these floodplains in the east of the country. So now as we head across the levels, it can be quite windy here, but also you do get the benefit of the sunshine, and that's why we chose to do this in the winter. The road quality is pretty good. Occasionally it falls apart, but it's really nice to be able to get a bit of sunshine when the days are so short, just coming up to Christmas. So you can see it's quite well flooded all the way around, but there's not a great deal of traffic, and there's a sign of how it used to be used. So now we ascend over another bridge and through the farms, and we're actually on our way back up now as we come out of the levels, and you can see that little lump that's coming up on the altitude chart, or whatever you want to call it, and we're sort of heading up now, coming out to the edge of the farmland. The road getting a little bit wider, and it actually does get a little bit busier down here. There are more cars parked. Well, we're still on the levels, but now we're turned round and we're almost, but not quite, running parallel with the coast, and so it's much more dominated by that sort of quite bleak farming. And so we've now joined the main road, and we're just heading into crossing over this little industrial area, and now we're going down towards the coast. So this road is almost parallel with the railway and with the coast. We've got the railway on one side and the coast on the other, and really we're going to hit the sea any minute now. This was very windy, so do watch out for any crosswinds. There was a little bit of traffic here as well, but as we ascend or descend now, that final little bit of drop down towards the coast, you'll see that there's not really much in the way of tree line, and the trees are sort of bent over and desperately trying to survive. So here we go, down towards the coast, over that last little bit of bridge, allowing some traffic to go past here. Not much of a road, but a good amount of traffic. Right, we're at the coast, we've recrossed the railway line, we've literally got the sea on our right, there's some beach huts, and we stop for a quick cup of tea up here by roadworks, and then we carry on. So now we're going to head into the town, but we're going to turn left almost immediately. We need to go underneath the railway bridge and cross the railway that's on our left. So there we go, we cross the railway bridge, and now it's pretty much straight home. Mostly going across at T-junctions or crossroads. So we've got to ascend, and you can see on the map that it gets a little bit hilly almost immediately, but we're nearly there. Not far to go now, through the edge of the town, following the van that we stayed next to when we had a cup of tea, and now through the edge of Sussex suburbia. Absolutely classic. The whole of the south coast seems to look a bit like this, but now we ascend the hill, steep bit of hill, and we're heading back towards Catsfield. So we go over the next junction, a place called Lunsford Cross, and another beautiful cut through. You can see how dark it is, and that the quality of the video almost packs up. But we're now heading through this quite a dark lane. It's meant to be 4K, but it doesn't look it, does it? And we're going to hit on Pottsman's Lane. This is actually still the same lane, until eventually we get back to where we started. So the final ascent, right up there, straight over at the junction, and now it's basically back home. Quick stop there, I can't remember what that was for. I think for a glass of water. Quite pretty cottages on the sides of the roads here, lots of timber frames, and now once we get to the top of this last little bit of hill, we're not far off. Again, we're back into the sort of road that we were in when we first started, which is a moderately well made up road, but single track and hemmed in on one side at least. So thank you for joining us. This is a link to our Komoot page, which has got a download. See, it says down the right there, download GPX file. And so you can take that GPX file and you can load it in, and then you can follow the route as you cycle around. Your Komoot will work a bit like a sat-nav, and it'll talk you through all the journeys and also show you the map in front of you. And you can make any adjustments if you want to cut out Herstmonceaux Castle. But what we'd really like you to do is, if you've enjoyed this video or you found it useful, please could you consider subscribing to us. Subscription helps us because then we know how many people are likely to be looking, but we can also see which are the most popular areas to go in, and we'd like to pick on a few more quite pretty parts of the country. We around winter we tend to head back south, although we love the Yorkshire Dales and we want to do some time in the northwest and return back to Scotland. But please could you subscribe for us and also leave a comment down below. So we love the comments, and if you tick the little bell that's available on YouTube, then they'll let you know when the next video is coming out. They're all colour coded, so blue is the southeast of England, and red is the Yorkshire Dales, for instance, green for Devon. So do join us. I'm going to leave you with a few pictures around Herstmonceaux Castle. Okay, take care and thanks for joining us. See you on the next ride. Bye.